Alright, just finished watching UFC 104, which I got my ass kicked. 4 and 7 on the evening. Lovely. Terrible picks. Without further ado, we will go into the fights that no one got to see. There were 2 of them. Kyle Kingsbury winning a split decision against Razak Al-Hassan, and George Rivera TKOing Rob the Rosedale Reaper Kimmins in the 3rd round. So, don't know about those 2 fights. There was the 3 undercard bouts we saw on Spike TV, which were led off by Pat Barry TKOing Anthony Hardock in the 2nd round in a fight that I think in the early going, Hardock kind of showed some superior striking, but you know, as it wore on, Pat Barry's power started coming in, and he adjusted very nicely at the end of the 1st round to go into the 2nd round with, you know, game plan adjustment, which really worked. That's kind of all there is to say about that fight. Ryan Darth Vader, unanimous decision over Eric Schaefer. Schaefer's striking looked good. I thought he won the 2nd round personally. He was picking apart Vader when he was on the feet. Not like he had no real power, it seemed, but he was landing. Vader had the power. He knocked him down twice, got him in a lot of trouble. You know, obviously won the fight, but really, this is probably the first fight I've ever been impressed with Eric Schaefer, and like, he hung in there and took a lot of shots and stayed in the game, which was very nice. I'm looking forward to his next fight. And the other one we saw, which we were not scheduled to see, was Stefan Skyscraper Struve and Chase Gormley. I thought this would be a very easy fight for Gormley, and it was looking that way in the early going. Then he decided it was time to be leg lock man, and he kept going for leg locks, and Struve was ready for them, and he eventually got a triangle. So some stupidity on the part of Chase Gormley leads to a defeat in his UFC debut. Was that a good day for the UFC debuts, to be honest? Anyways, then we go to the main card. Anthony Rumble Johnson, Yoshida, 21-second knockout. Kind of what I said. What happened in the fight? Joe Daddy Stevenson actually got a submission due to strikes against Spencer Fisher in the 2nd round. He was looking good. He hurt Fisher early in the left eye. Fisher was kind of really out of it from that point on. I don't think he was seeing properly. You look at the end of the 1st round in the corner, I think it was quite obvious. Not necessarily a stoppage thing, but kind of had me worried that, you know, the eye is not something you want to injure and keep going. But anyways, basically Stevenson crucifixed him, dropping the elbows. He tapped with his foot, which I think is the first time I've ever seen that. Anyways, good performance from Joe Daddy Stevenson. Nothing to be ashamed of from Spencer Fisher. I mean, you'll get fights. You're an exciting fighter. Maybe fight Josh Neer. Like that fight. Really like that fight. There's someone laughing in the background. As for Stevenson, kind of back in the title picture. Maybe a rematch with Kenny Florian, or a Frankie Edgar or a Tyson Griffin fight. As for Anthony Rumble Johnson, Matt Brown, you were hinting that fight. Let's make it happen. That's an entertaining fight. As for Yoshida, maybe out of the UFC. He's lost back-to-back fights. Kind of depends. If they want to build someone with him, they can throw him at them. If they want to rebuild him, they'll throw him someone new or a can that he can beat, or someone stylistically who's perfect for him. That is my theory. Gleason Tibau, unanimous decision over Josh Neer. Kind of a hollow unanimous decision. I didn't particularly disagree with it, but at the same time, this has kind of been atypical of Tibau's performances. He takes you down and does nothing with it, and it's kind of unfortunate. Josh Neer, though, no sprawls. What the heck? It was very annoying. Anyways, Tibau, UD Tibau. I don't care who he fights. I'm bored of at least Tibau's fights. Josh Neer, that's it for sure. Make it happen. Cain Velasquez defeated Ben Rothwell. I'm a little disappointed at the stoppage because Ben Rothwell was getting up. At the same time, that fight was, yeah, Cain showed the Cain Velasquez that people keep saying exists, and people say exists in the training room, and we hadn't really seen yet. And boy, he just, you know, took Ben Rothwell in the yard and beat him with a switch, basically. It was destruction. There's nothing positive for Rothwell from this fight. Finally, we have the title match: Lyoto Machida versus, I suppose you should get Cain Velasquez, obviously up into a title contention spot. Maybe a match with the loser of Carwin Lesnar, or maybe he's next in line to fight the winner of that match. Either fight, I would like to see. Rothwell, kind of depends on what kind of, you know, area they want to take him in. I mean, he could fight. There's a lot of interesting fights for him. Cheick Kongo, Pat Barry would both be interesting opponents, as would Harndonk, Chase Gormley, Stefan Struve. There's a lot of options, basically, when you're 0-1 in the UFC and you have a big name. So there's a lot of possibilities. Lyoto Machida wins the UD over Shogun. I was surprised it was UD, because that was a very, very close fight. It was a horrible judging corps with Cecil Peebles, Nelson Hamilton, and Marcos Rosales, 3 of the 5 heads of MMA doom in terms of the judging criteria, along with Dalby Shirley and Adelaide Bird. I don't exactly disagree with the decision. I scored it for Shogun, but I mean, I guess there is a level of truth to what Goldberg said. When you're fighting the champion, you gotta beat him convincingly, and obviously Shogun didn't. He didn't stop him. He didn't dominate the fight. I thought he just, you know, won the fight. I thought the leg. Who would have thought body kicks actually would be the way to take out Machida? I really didn't think of that. Leg kicks I got, because, you know, it takes away his elusivity, which by the end of the fight was definitely the case, because down the stretch Shogun was pounding away some good rounds. I disagree with the decision. Not outraged about it, but I would like to see a rematch. There's no one else really to challenge for the title with the Evans Rampage fight not happening. I mean, does anyone really want to see Lyoto versus Rashad again? I don't know. Since I got time, the other fights we saw were Chael Sonnen versus Yushin Okami. Yushin Okami, what the hell was that? Completely abandoning your wrestling to try to strike with Chael, which isn't a bad idea, but at the same time, when you were getting taken down, at some point it should have occurred to you to take Chael down and do something to try to win the fight. Chael Sonnen, really good performance. Striking looked a lot better than it has in the past. His wrestling was stud-like, as it usually is. Where does Chael go? Don't know. Talis, well, they've cut Talis latest, actually. I guess he's kind of in that title group with Demian Maia and Rich Franklin and Marquardt, and, well, Franklin's going to 205 in theory, and Henderson if he resigns. Maybe have him fight Nate Marquardt. I guess that would get Henderson's attention. Yushin Okami, I would not be surprised if they released him, because they don't like Okami. His repetitive not getting a title shot, but I would say probably Demian Maia would be a good fight. That's all we saw in this one. I guess I didn't do Schaefer and Bader and so on. Bader, whoever they think he can beat. Schaefer, doesn't really matter to me. I like it. Pat Barry, Ben Rothwell. That would be a good fight to line up. Harndonk, I don't know. Harndonk's been so hit and miss. I guess any good striking heavyweight, maybe Stefan Struve would be a good fight. Actually, it comes to mind Pat Barry versus Junior Dos Santos. That could be interesting. And finally, what do I think for Chase Gormley and Struve? Gormley, I don't care. It was a terrible performance in terms of game planning, just stupidity. Struve, I guess Pat Barry was my suggestion on Anthony Harndonk. Anyways, that's the UFC 104 review. I enjoyed the card. It was a good card, very solid. I think somewhat over-delivered actually, because the main event was really, really competitive. Anyways, rate, comment, subscribe, the usual stuff. Peace.